Andrew Tate. Have we been thinking about him and his ideas the right way? Come. Let's dive in. Number 1, the importance of confidence. Number 2, be delusional. Number 3, reject victimhood. Number 4, relationships and masculinity. And number 5, life is a competition, isn't it? Now, most of us watching this video have been consuming the content of Andrew Tate over the last few months. Now, while consuming his content and his strange ideas or ideals at the time, I realized that there's a lot I could unlearn from him and his mental models. Is there something you can unlearn as well? You just might. Stick around. I hope you enjoy this video. Now, I would like to share an interesting perspective that I've developed over the last few months on Andrew Tate. Whether you love him or hate him, or maybe you just don't care about him, I'm sure there's a lot we can learn and unlearn from him. Let's dive in. I had to unlearn the importance of confidence. Let's dig a little bit deeper.
I know everything about myself, my friend.
Now, I always knew confidence was important. As a matter of fact, it is scientifically proven that a statement said more confidently becomes more believable. Now, Andrew Tate has taken confidence to a whole nother level.
I believe that I have an intimate grasp of all the things about myself which matter, which allow me to compete.
He is undoubtedly confident beyond measure. Let's take a look at this clip.
Is you want to hire the guy with the IQ of 130 that thinks it's 120, and the guy with an IQ of 150 who thinks it's 170 will just kill you.
You must be thinking about Elon Musk.
Well, I think he struggled for a while. He struggled with confidence. He hesitated to take risk. He probably wasn't the cool guy in school, was he? Now, becoming confident in a particular area or in all aspects of life will certainly enhance your growth. Well, just by how confidently he speaks on various topics, he appears very confident. I believe to some extent this is a gift. Or he has worked tremendously hard on developing that. Now that can be special because it's not normal. Now, think of the confidence you need to venture into the realm of competitive combat.
Back foot, get him on those ropes.
Must be an interesting perspective in his mind. How to balance when to attack, when to defend, knowing that that person on the opposite side of the ring is coming to get you at all cost. Knowing when to strike the balance between fear and fearlessness, between doubt and confidence. You know what stands out to me? Is his ability to display extreme confidence and some level of humility, both at the same time. I think that resonates tremendously with young people today, especially young men. His humility is subtle, but it's there. I am not a fan of being overconfident all the time. Now, if I had to choose between being overconfident or too little confidence, I will choose overconfidence any day. Now, Warren Buffett's partner and friend Charlie Munger summarizes this nicely. He said, "Never underestimate the man who overestimates himself."
How do you assess someone when making a hiring decision?
I want the guy who understands his limitations instead of the guy who doesn't. On the other hand, I've learned something terribly important in life. I learned that from Howard Amundsen. You know what he used to say? Never underestimate the man who overestimates himself. These weird guys who overestimate themselves occasionally knock it right out of the park. And that is a very unhappy part of modern life.
What's funny, Charlie was speaking of Elon Musk. Now, isn't that interesting? Number 2, be delusional. Be delusional. Be delusional? What's that? Why should I be delusional?
So there may be things I don't know, but I'm not sure if I particularly need them. So I'm not that interested.
Right. What's useful is more important than what's true.
Absolutely.
Right, and you've developed a framework of thinking about yourself and thinking about reality that's been incredibly effective for you.
When I say I don't believe in depression, nobody can convince me to believe in depression.
It is very apparent from that clip that Andrew Tate is delusional. Extremely delusional. Now, could it be that we all must be delusional? Or is it that we all are delusional? Interesting. By the way, interesting, my favorite word. I'll use it a lot. He rationalizes things in a very different way.
We're all programmed to some degree. I agree with you on this so far. I don't think anybody can escape programming, whether it's society, whether it's a television show, whether it's the people around you, peer pressure, whether it's a religion. We're all programmed to some degree. That's absolutely not really true. What I have done, and what I think most people do not do, is heavily analyze why I hold the beliefs I hold, why they help me. If I don't hold the belief personally, or if I didn't learn it from personal experience, I know where it came from, who tried to teach me that, whether their intentions for me were good or bad. And I've tried very hard to have my mindset rigidly analyzed and make sure that it's put together in a way which benefits me completely and absolutely. And
now, he alone exists in his own mind. He alone knows the pain and the struggles that's going on with him and in his life. He uses his own perspective, shapes his own mental models, forms his own framework that he wants to use to govern his mind. And from that, he creates his own reality. To some extent, we all do that, except some are more deliberate than others. Don't we all need our own mental models, our own idea structures? Surely, to some extent, we all are delusional. And I would argue we all must be. When the pain is too much to bear, we form our own reality. We trick our minds, our brains into believing something that's not actually true so we can survive. To some extent, our reality is a little bit delusional. Charlie calls this simple psychological denial. Now we can roll into the next point. Number 3, reject victimhood. This is infiltrating our society. Day in, day out, you see it flat out everywhere you look. The victimhood mentality.
I feel like if I had to choose one of the two outlets, deciding to use controlled anger was more beneficial than sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I don't ever believe in moping or feeling sad. So when I was at my worst, perhaps I was a little bit angry. But then again, I also think I do that in my normal life. If I'm honest, I don't think anger is a necessarily bad thing. I think that misdirected anger is a bad thing.
Now, I had to unlearn and relearn the idea of embracing fear and not be fearful. Now, sometimes we all want to fall in the trap of being the victim. It's easy.
I'll admit, I don't sleep very well since I've left. No real
visions.
thoughts, no real story.
Fear, that's fear.
I guess it is, yeah.
So so let's just, you're unconscious, the dreams are a reflection of the unconscious.
And we all like to think of ourselves sometimes as the victim, but embracing that as our identity and allowing it to fully consume us and to dictate who we are and how we think is a recipe for disaster.
Most people, the best they can do is having everything they want. I don't think I can change or affect the world to the point where pain and suffering and bad things are not going to happen. So isn't it best if I just enjoy all of that?
If you're going to take action, most of the action will come from you or from within. So the mindset of being in the driver's seat or being in control is the right mental model to have if you're going to take action.
Watch your coffee. You got to be careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account, wherever you get it.
Now, if you're suffering from depression or any disease at all, seek help if you can. Get professional help. That would be the best advice. But bear in mind that if you're in the driver's seat, if you can take action, remain with the frame of mind and the mental model that you're in charge and you can take action, even if that action means getting help. Embracing victimhood will reduce your ability to get over hurdles. Number 4, relationships and masculinity. Now, this one is a bit controversial. Now, if you should separate them, masculinity is very interesting and relationship is quite complex topics to discuss. But how does these two intertwine? Masculinity and relationships. Now, if you work on or develop strong relationships, you will have a better time at work and at home. How does masculinity merge with relationships. Now, with the rising discussion around feminism and masculinity and who is right and who is wrong and what's the role of the man in society or what's the role of the woman in society, and how do you define who is a man, who is a woman, or somewhere in between, who decides what they are or what they want to be. Now, what is very clear is that there's a gap between how men are perceived, how men perceive themselves, and what the actual reality is, if there's any such a thing as reality. By the way, whose reality is reality? Or am I a bit delusional? Now, I've always considered myself a masculine person. I've had to take a step back and refocus and recenter my masculinity to see how best I can channel that energy into developing strong relationships, understanding my role, and how I can affect the relationships that I've formed around me, whether it's my partner, my parents, my friends, my colleagues, and the role I want to play in their lives. What became very clear is that I need my own mental model, my own perspective, my own framework of how I think about my masculinity.
I didn't think, why is this happening? I didn't think, why me? I didn't think, oh, this is unfair. Like, none of these things crossed my mind. I was like, this is garbage. However, you can't become the most Googled man in the world without, with every light has a dark, right?
Now, it's all good to read wide and to listen widely and to have an open mind. Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, whoever it is you're subscribed to, you should be the one who decides who you are and where you stand on certain issues. Think about them, spend the time to investigate and think about that mental model that you want to have and the type of person you want to be or become. That's important. Number 5. Now, here's the 5th thing I had to unlearn because of Andrew Tate. Life is a competition. Now, was that a statement or a question? What is it for you? What is life for you? Is it a competition or is it not? Well, for me, it's clearly a competition, hands down.
Personally, my personal beliefs are that life as a man is hyper competitive, and whatever software you have in your mind should be designed to make you as competitive as possible, and you shouldn't be believing in absolutely anything else.
We are competing against each other. We are competing against the environment. We are competing against ourselves. We are competing against death. We are competing at work. We are competing at school. We are competing in whichever environment we find ourselves in. Life is a competition. I feel that if life is a competition, which it is, give myself the best chance, I need a strong process. And that's the blue ocean way. I've chosen to live a blue ocean life. And now, what do I mean by that? What does that mean, actually? Now, let me simplify my blue ocean mental model. 1, it's a constant evaluation. And at every moment in time that you get the opportunity to stop and to think, you think these 4 things. Number 1, what in your life can you eliminate? Number 2, what in your life can you elevate? Number 3, what in your life can you reduce? And number 4, where can you create? Now, these are the 4 idea structures I use to create a strategic canvas for my life, for my friendship, for parenting, for being a husband. I use this 4 idea structure to create a canvas. There may be something toxic in your life that's holding you back, something that you might want to eliminate. Now, there might be something that you enjoy, that you are passionate about, that you want to elevate. You may want to reduce your time, for example, on social media or on YouTube. Now, is there something that you think you would like to create? Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's finding a new skill. Maybe it's learning a new language. You might want to create something. It's a constant process. Use this framework to create a canvas for your life. If you constantly evaluate your life on this strategy canvas, you may see good results. Life as a competition. Move from red ocean to blue ocean. The blue ocean strategy, blue ocean shift. Very interesting. Now, these ideas may work for you or maybe not. But let me know what's your process. Let me know how you think about your life. And let me know if these 5 ideas was helpful to you while you hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on your notification for more of this kind of content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.